Just a little update on my BSA A65T Thunderbolt after yesterday's outing to Ammanford and back, where all of a sudden and for no apparent reason, or with no warning should I say, the headlamp made a bid for freedom. I heard this clatter in the road behind me. I didn't even realise anything had come off the bike while I was riding it, and I could see in the mirror there was something in the road, and I don't remember that. So I thought, it's probably part of the bike, better go back and have a look. And sure enough, the headlamp was laying in the road, broken, and well, here it is, what's left of it. And I think it escaped because I noticed when I was putting it back together, when I luckily managed to go upstairs and find this in my bits and pieces and clipped it into the rim. But when I was refitting the unit to the shell, when I tightened this screw up, I noticed that it would actually turn and then get to a point where it felt tight, but if you backed off again it would sort of go all loose and floppy. And I think what was happening, and I've seen it before, is the little sort of clip or hook that the screws into to fasten the top of the rim in can sometimes turn with the screw, and I think it had turned to a point where it's still sort of brought up on the rim of the headlamp, but it gave it the potential to sort of, with a bit of vibration or whatever, perhaps jiggle back, whereupon it would obviously sort of be loose to all intents and purposes. When I tightened this one up, I went to the point where it felt like it was getting tight, then backed off, not even quarter of a turn probably, it all went quite loose and wobbly, tightened up again, repeated it a couple of times, and I've got it tight now. It is actually very tight, so I don't think it's going to give me any trouble again. But that's always something to consider, is that the little hook or clip can sometimes slew around a little bit with the screw when you're turning it. I know it's supposedly got little guides to stop it doing that, but it doesn't always work. Anyway, I think that's secure now, so this one here is ready to go in the bin. I'm quite sort of impressed that the headlamp bulb survived that bounce in the road, actually, because obviously that was in the reflector unit when it all came off. It sort of released itself from the wire connectors and bounced and smashed in the road. So quite a tough survivor there, that bulb. Another thing that I thought I'd mention, it's been commented on once or twice. I didn't really know this, someone mentioned it, that these are actually reproduction copies of the old Smiths clocks, and looking at them more closely I can see there's no sign of any Smiths logo or part numbers on them or whatever, but a few people have remarked that they should be down beneath the tops of the rubber pods that they sit in. I know that that is right, but these clocks, for whatever reason, happen to be deeper than the originals were, and that's as far down as they'll go. They are actually bottomed out in the rubber holders, so not really anything I can do about that, unfortunately. But it's not a case of them being badly fitted or no one knowing what they're doing or anything when they fitted them. That is as deep into those pods or holders as they'll go, so they've just got to be lived with. But in spite of that setback yesterday, we're back on the road and ready for our next adventure, and I'm going to wrap this up carefully in some paper or cardboard or whatever, and it can go in the rubbish bin. But never put anything like this directly into a polythene rubbish bag to go out with the rubbish. Always wrap your glass up. It saves anyone else who might be handling it further down the line getting a nasty cut, and it's quite easy just to wrap it up in something. So that's what I'll be doing with that before it goes in the bin. So there we are, back in business once again.